What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Outdoor Talk podcast. I'm Elliott Delp.
Hunter Collins.
And today we are going to be talking about what, Hunter? What are we talking about today?
The hardships of the outdoors, basically. The parts nobody wants to talk about. The parts of the outdoors that you don't hear about.
The parts
like when you buy a brand new car, you hear everything good about, but you don't hear about the payment. You don't hear about the oil changes you're going to have to do every few months. You don't hear about the new tires you're going to have to buy. You don't hear about what if you spill some stuff on your seat, it's not cleanable.
Yeah.
You hear the best of it. So we're going to be talking about
the crappy parts.
The stuff you don't usually hear about the outdoors.
The stuff that makes people go in an hour into hunting.
Makes people what? Go in. Oh, go inside.
Yeah.
Oh.
What else would I be talking about?
I don't know. You said go in. I was like, why would you go in somewhere hunting?
An hour into it?
Well, you said go in. Like,
an hour in.
Yeah, but when you said makes people want to go in an hour in, I was like, go into what?
Is that why y'all's podcast take an hour?
You just interrupted. We're going to leave that in too.
Okay.
Just so everybody knows.
We have an audience here.
She loves to interrupt and ruin. We usually cut through it all, but we're
She
not. It's
doesn't
Christmas
care.
Eve. Yeah, she's very disrespectful towards our great podcast and you 18 viewers that love to watch it.
Everybody talking about your podcast and quit ringing.
But Jared's not with us. He will be. So the plan is this weekend, sort of, kind of, to hopefully do like one last end, because our podcast come out on Tuesday night, and Tuesday night is New Year's Eve.
Correct.
So the hope or the goal for us is to some way, shape, or form. Jared and I kind of came up with this like big elaborate plan. Who knows if it'll work or even happen, but we definitely want to do like an end in year review, kind of look back on all the stuff we've done, talk about what we've learned, you know, what we've done throughout this year, and just kind of like basically one big story of our experiences. So we know we're going to do that. Jared is back in town, but he's not able to be with us for this podcast tonight.
And we didn't feel like cropping him in every 30 minutes because this is Monday night and it does go out tomorrow. So
tomorrow's well, when this airs, it'll be Christmas Eve. So when you're seeing this, it's probably already been Christmas or it's getting ready to be. So Merry Christmas. But that's the goal. So we just kind of want to do like a normal podcast today, but look forward to that. Like
next week.
That should be really fun. You know, kind of. We may even pull some old footage up or something and watch some stuff. But look forward to that. Kind of an end in year in review podcast between all of us and basically TSOutdoors. You know, just the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
But
so with that being said, let's just go right into our topic, and I'll let you start with.
I'll start
with fishing.
When people are uncooperative. Like, you know, you try to be nice with somebody and you go out to film an intro for them and everybody's just goofing off the entire time and like won't cooperate for 15 seconds to get the shot, and it takes like 2 minutes to 10 minutes to get one shot that was supposed to take 20 seconds.
I mean, it has nothing to do with hunting or fishing. I think
It has to do with filming in the outdoor industry.
Yeah, but
Be on the lookout for his intro, outro, and trailer soon.
it won't be out for a long time. Don't even look for it.
I'm plugging myself here. Who made it for you? Filmed, directed, and edited, and produced.
By no one yet. It's been filmed by Hunter.
No. Fishing?
Yeah, so you can start on the hardships of fishing, and then I'll do the hardships of hunting, and then we'll do the hardships of everything.
So go to Jared Tuck's YouTube channel
and watch any of his videos.
Chickamauga Lake Series, episode 2. I think it's called like Broken Rods and Broken Dreams. Just watch that. He about died. He didn't drink water at all, and we also didn't catch like any fish, and it was like 90 degrees. Like the first like hour was good.
It's beautiful in the morning.
But from like what, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, like right after the first hour of fishing.
Well, okay.
The rest of the day, pretty much,
so
it's just slow.
So what happened? Basically,
Not catching anything.
all hunting stories are awful until you kill something. All fishing stories are awful until you catch something.
But it's the journey that matters.
Yeah. Well, so Chickamauga started. We were out on the lake, at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Sun just came up, and it was a solid 40 degrees, 50 degrees in the middle of summer.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like 50
nice.
or 60.
It was a nice, cool morning. Like, you didn't have to have a coat on.
No, yeah, you did. I don't know what you had on. You had a full coat. You had a full, like...
No, I didn't. I had a Columbia shirt on. Long sleeve.
Yeah.
That's not a coat.
Well, whatever. I had a pullover. So, yeah, it was just a really chilly morning, and then it started to get hot really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
I mean, it was Tennessee in the middle of summer on the lake.
Yeah, so it started to get miserably hot really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared liked to fish in the middle of the lake where there was no shade, trying to fish deep. Of course, I guess that's what you're supposed to do. I don't know. I'm not a fisherman.
Yeah, and you're complaining about the heat. Where do you think the fish are going? You think they're going up shallow in the warm water where the sun's just beating down?
I think
Or are they going
underneath the
30
tree.
feet under?
They going underneath the tree, man. That's where I'd go.
You'd be burning up.
Not underneath the tree.
Versus 30 feet deep where it's like way colder?
Yeah, maybe. We didn't catch any fish deep, though, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Like, if you ask us to tell you a story about Chickamauga Lake, we will tell you, like, a killer story, but we won't include that, probably.
Yeah.
Well, what we talk about is how the first day we got there and we were like, should we fish or should we not? Because we only had like an hour and a half and we didn't know anything about the lake. And we were just like, full send, let's do it. Who cares if we only fish for 30 minutes? We're only here for 2 days. So we launched the boat. Elliott about wrecked the trailer, the truck, and another dude's truck. And, you know, that was just fun. And then we got in the water and we tried to fish deep. Didn't work. And like we were 20 minutes in, we were like, let's just go shallow. That's what we know. Why not? Just started. I mean, two nice fish back to back, and then we kept getting bites all night, and it was just like a great evening. It was like very, very temperature-wise, it was very good because we got there at like 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And summer, you know, starts getting dark around 9:30. So temperature-wise, it was just great, and we would tell you that story, but that's what we kind of want to evolve this podcast around is the stuff we wouldn't tell you.
The crappy stuff.
And basically, number one, stay hydrated. Like, no matter what you're doing outdoors, hunting, fishing, hiking, snowboarding, like, drink water, like, especially if it's hot. Whatever you're doing, if it's
Even
hot.
when you
But even if it's not, like, if you're outside, you're moving, or, you know, you get up early, like, whatever it is, you need to be hydrated.
Yeah. So there's a lot of crappy parts to all stuff. And I mean, a lot of us. Well, if anybody's gonna comment, because I can feel the comments coming. Like I can already think, golly. This is not just us complaining about things that happen outdoors and happen to us while we're fishing and hunting. This is
The realities.
the realities of it. And
regardless of who you are.
And us not just being babies, but just telling it how it really is. Like, it's freaking hot, 9 degrees on the lake, and it's miserable. Like, I don't care what you're like. It's not that bad. 9 degrees is not that bad. Just dress for it. Just shut up. No, it's still hot. It's still miserable.
You still have to be hydrated.
Like,
but then it's also very dependent on how your day's going. So if it's 90 degrees, you're still gonna be hot and sweating. But if we were catching 5-pounders every 10, 20 minutes, we probably would not be talking about the heat at all right now.
no, it'd still be hot.
I know, but we probably wouldn't be talking about it at all.
We'd still need a podcast, huh?
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, I
Like,
know what you're saying.
it's also very dependent, and that's another, like, I guess harsh or bad or just reality of it is, unless you're Tom Hager, it doesn't work for you every single time. Like unless you're just one of those, like, everybody knows somebody that just always seems to, like, be on it, but even they have days they don't get something, and that's the hardest part of it. Is just, I mean, with anything, just going and not being able to capitalize. Like, if you're fishing a fish, if you're hunting, whatever you're hunting for, if you're hiking, say something happens and you don't make it to the top of, like, whatever it is, like, if you don't capitalize on it, which will happen, it'll always happen at some points.
Yep.
And especially like fishing and hunting, very dependent on what you're doing, but it'll probably happen a lot more than not. I guess that's a very dependent statement. Like, not many times I'll go to Carter's Park and not catch a fish, but like, it's very dependent on who you are, what you're fishing, hunting, like, whatever the case is.
What's your where you're hunting at, where you're fishing at.
Do you know the land? Is it somewhere you know you're going to get it, or is it somewhere you're trying to like go after? It's very dependent.
And even if you are pretty certain that you'll see something, doesn't mean you'll see it. I mean, you're going after wildlife, and wildlife's just as unpredictable as you are.
And that's what the hardest part. And then I think like by far, whatever the conditions are extended on how well your days. Like it can be 20 degrees, and we see 100 deer, and that day we would be way less cold than if it was 40 degrees and we saw no deer. I truly believe that. I mean, not if they all came at one time, but like, you know, if you're constantly staying like looking at something, pay attention, your mind's not even thinking. But it's kind of like an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, I was
you don't
about
think
to say,
about
it's
it.
your adrenaline kicking in. Every time a deer walks by, you just
Right.
get gassed real quick, and you're just like, whoa.
So, I mean, that's just kind of like the reality of it is you're not always going to see something.
Mm-hmm.
I think, are you going to say more on basically the biggest thing's just when you don't get to capitalize for me, like in all sports. Like, I think that's the biggest harsh reality is that you're going to go out there and you might sit either fishing or hunting. Say you sit for 6 hours.
Not capitalizing is not the harshest thing. I feel like the harshest thing is dealing with the crap you deal with while you're not capitalizing.
Well, yeah.
Like, I can go out and sit on a 60-degree day. Say you could deer hunt when it was 60 degrees. I can sit all day. It wouldn't be nearly as bad. Like,
right.
It's going outside and sitting when it's 30 degrees, the wind's blowing, and you hate your life. And you're just like, every second you're like, is it 11 o'clock yet? Can I come in? Like, can I go inside? And that's a big reality. The other big reality is, well, not so much for fishing unless you fish for meat, but like the process after. A lot of new people, new hunters that have never done it before, looking to get into it. There is a lot of work involved, especially if you're small scale. If you're small scale, there's a ton of work involved in all of it, especially if you're new. Like, once the deer hits the ground, the work actually begins. And sometimes it can take 2 hours, sometimes it can take 3 hours. It's usually a bloody mess.
Right.
And that's
nothing. I've never seen anybody like completely field dress any animal flawlessly. Something always goes. Whether when you're skinning it, your knife accidentally cuts the wrong thing, or you don't cut it far enough the first time, or say you're taking the meat off, you accidentally like. I've never seen anybody flawlessly field dressed to table to Ziploc bag, perfect. Like, something always goes wrong. Maybe you're putting meat in the grinder, and like something will happen. And I think that's another reality. Even with fish, like you might get bones, or you know, you might like we did those fish at the cabin. Like we way overcooked them. Yeah, like we just way over. Like something will always go wrong too. And I think that's another thing, especially. Not just necessarily, like, we're talking after you plan on eating any animal, after, like, you harvest it, something will always go, like, it can be the littlest thing, but you're always going to run into some type of problem.
Yeah. And just the sheer amount of work.
And that's also, like, he a lot of times, or for the most part, takes his deer and gets somebody to process it for him. But we do the quartering ourselves. And that still takes several hours. But I know my family, when we get a deer, we do the grinding, like we Ziploc bag it, we do it all ourselves. And that's like several extra hours of work.
Plus
now you
cleaning
can,
up all your crap.
You can basically just, once you kill an animal, take it somewhere. Like a lot of places will do that for you. They basically do everything for you. But then you're paying a lot more for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's something you're looking into, but I mean, then the harsh reality is you're going to have to pay $100 or more for like a complete whole entire deal. Because I mean, it's not too bad if you do most of the work yourself and just get somebody. But like if you're getting them to do everything, harsh reality is you're going to have to pay for that.
Probably like $100 a deer or something like that. I know we pay like 30 or 40 once it's quartered for a burger with beef fat in it.
And then I guess kind of staying on that money thing, another harsh reality
How expensive is everything?
Well, I was going
Well,
to say mounts. And like, you know how like it costs a lot to mount a fish. Like mounts are expensive. You know, bearskin rug. Let's talk about that.
$1,000.
Bearskin rug. You need to take a small deposit out of the bank. Like
Put a lien out on your car.
I mean, that's because a lot of people think, oh, I want this, mounted, or how cool would this? Because we've talked about getting a fish mounted, but like, it costs a lot more than people think. Like, if you know nothing about the industry at all, like it costs more than like just the average, I would say.
So I know Tom's elk, I think, is gonna be like $700, $800 for. Sure.
Jared's fish was several hundred, I'm pretty sure, for his walleye, his fish.
I thought it was a muskie. I thought he did the muskie.
Whatever fish Jared's getting some like world record fish mounted.
I thought it was a muskie.
I don't know. He's getting some like monster fish mounted, and I'm pretty sure it was several hundred.
Mm-hmm.
Like this stuff's not cheap.
But I think fish mounts look so much better than like game mounts.
I do too.
Gosh, fish mounts.
Fish mounts do look good, but I mean that's just we're talking about like reality. Like yeah, it looks cool, and yeah, you put in the work to harvest that animal, but once again, we're not complaining. We're just telling every side of the story.
Yeah.
And aside to that story is you go to somebody's house and they got 10 deer mounts and they killed them all. There's several grand on the wall and taxidermy work. So,
not to mention all the other stuff they've paid for to get there.
Because
I mean, we might talk about how easy it is to get into hunting, and it is really easy to get into hunting. But it's one of them things where like you just spend money, and it's a black hole. Like license, how much is a license now? Like
and in Virginia it's $20.
It's 20.
Roughly.
No, it's $20 for a hunting license.
Yeah.
So you have to buy the hunting license, which is the first one, which is $20.
And
you know what you get to hunt with that? Squirrel, and a rabbit.
But there's reasons for all that.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as you want to complain,
there is, but
the government has to take control of the population somehow, and a lot of people don't pay it anymore. So like, what can they do? If you have a t-shirt business and like you're doing everything you can not to like lose your business, and you have 20% less people buy this year, what's the only thing you can do? Like one of the like main things you would do, you would raise your t-shirt prices, or do something completely different. But what if you could only sell that t-shirt?
Then you're SOL. So eventually you're going to run out of luck.
Right, and that's kind of what's happening. That's why a lot of people like I have these conversations a lot at my college with some of the people that are like big into this industry. And that's one of the main problems right now. And this is a big harsh reality. It's dying. Like not even to get into politics, but a lot of stuff's happening with like even if you're for, putting restrictions on certain like all of that, like regardless, if you don't know, there's an act that says basically everything that's related to a gun or anything goes back into conservation. Like you can not hunt whatsoever and buy a pistol. And some of that money goes back into conservation. Like, and I think that's a harsh reality. Is like I'm not going to front with Ellie. I probably complain more than anybody about the stupid prices. Like I don't even want to buy them. Like I don't want to buy a fishing license. But at the same time, I realize that they have to do something. Like if the government couldn't afford to control the population, we probably wouldn't be able to hunt. Like it would be so bad. Like people don't realize how much like is actually done in conservation terms.
Well, go ahead and tell us, Hunter, what's done for the local deer population? Like what happens? Like let's take Wythe County for example. What happens?
I don't know what exactly happens.
Does anything happen?
I know there's management done. I don't know exactly how it's done. And I definitely don't want to speak on something I don't know. But I do know that you have to control the population regardless. And I know there's there's somebody like contracted in cities that don't hunt to kill the deer. I think
we've talked about that before.
Right.
But like maybe that's a problem. Maybe the lack of visual, like if you tell somebody we need money for conservation and you see no conservation or hear about no conservation being done, I mean, I can tell you right now, if you told me to invest in something and it was getting done behind the scenes and I was never like told about it, I'd not want to invest anymore.
Right. So then maybe that's something that needs to be looked at more. But it does go to conservation.
Yeah.
I know a lot of, especially like the stuff you do through the VDGIF, like that goes straight back in. And whether that's a person doing research on a species, like whatever it is, like I don't want to get into specifics because I'm not 100% sure. But like the harsh reality is, one, it's dying. Like you can just see, like talk to people, like people are scared to talk about hunting anymore.
People are scared to talk about anything.
Anything, right? And that's like not to say that they can't do it, but like Dick's and Walmart raising their ages and stuff. Not to say that you can or can't believe in that, but regardless, that's kind of pushing away from that industry in a sense.
Yeah.
Even though you can still legally do it, like regardless of all beliefs, I think it's still sort of pushing away, and like
It's hurting it.
It's hurting it, and then the harsh reality that hurts the hunters or the shooters. Like people have shooting competitions. Like let's not leave them out. Like it's not just all about taking a deer. Like some people like are Tom Brady but with a pistol.
Mm-hmm. No,
Like,
I know.
That's their job. Like they get paid to go like do action shoots. And the harsh reality, like a lot of that's going in a not good direction. Like statistics, like you can find statistics on that.
I bet by the time we're like 40, it'll just be hardly anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then in efforts to make up for it, like how this whole conversation started, they like charged a lot. Where do we leave? Where do we get off on that big rant topic?
I don't know. I started talking about.
No, you said the last thing you said was you could hunt squirrel for $20. You have to pay $20 to hunt deer and turkey and bear.
And then you have to pay an additional
if it's not rifle season, you have to pay for your bow and muzzleloader license,
Those
which
are
are
like
$20 each,
Yeah.
roughly, in the state of Virginia.
The only sensible one is
It's
like
the first one.
No, well, yeah, if you could do everything.
Waterfowl. Like I want to start duck hunting, but we have to buy a waterfowl stamp, right?
I thought it was
Whatever it's
migratory bird.
Whatever it is.
Migratory bird.
That's about.
No, the only sensible one I think that they can charge you extra for is with National Forest, and it's like $1 or $2. And
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
I'd
like-
stand behind that one.
Yeah, it's very cheap to get a national forest permit, but I mean,
But that's one of the crappy things about.
but I don't think that's where money goes is the worst. I think one of the biggest harsh realities when it comes to outdoors and money is losing something. So like when you shoot an arrow or a bullet at a deer and you miss, that $2 bullet hurts more than if you threw the gun in the lake.
Yeah.
Or when you're fishing and you hook a monster fish and it breaks off, like you'd rather wreck your boat and ruin it than you would that line break. Like it's little things like that are such, I guess, harsh reality is our topic. Like, go ahead, Dave. Talk about a time where you were just like infuriated at yourself and the harsh reality hit you. Like, I can't always do that.
Every time I went hunting this season.
Oh, you mean every time you missed a deer?
Every time I missed a deer.
I just like you guys know I like reminding you. How many deer did you miss this season?
Like 3 or 4. I don't know. 2 or 3.
Is that a harsh reality for you, or is it just a habit at this point?
It's a habit at this point. I killed the first deer of the season. Thank you,
true.
Dave.
At 20 yards with a 50 cal muzzleloader.
It's dead. It's a muzzleloader.
I could have thrown a butter knife at it.
Yeah, well, maybe. But yeah, that's.
Or not find one of the biggest ones I can think of.
Shooting something and not finding.
We went hog hunting. Like if you haven't, go watch that video. And I don't care what Elliott says. We were both nervous as can be, and like jumped. We didn't really jump the gun.
What?
We didn't really jump the gun because like we had to do it fast, but like we were just like all adrenaline. Like let's do this. Let's just go shoot. And basically we turned our green lights on, and they were like, "Oh gosh, we gotta go." And then I know when I had to move my gun to a different window in the blind. And Elliott was like already counting down, or however we shot, like we were about to shoot, and I hadn't even looked back through my scope yet. And I just saw one hog, center mass, And like as soon as I saw it, it was basically shoot time. So I pulled the trigger, and then Elliott
treated my AR-15 like a machine gun.
He pulled the trigger like 4 times within like 2 seconds. But we heard and
freaking out
like we had hit a hog, and we were so hyped. And then we went to go look later, and there was blood, and we were like, we did it. And then we looked for like an hour. I don't know. It wasn't an hour because
there wasn't that much land to cover.
Yeah, when they get into like the thick brush, there's nothing you can really do. But that was like, because it was our first time hog hunting, so we were way overexcited. Mm-hmm. And then we thought we had got one, or more maybe.
Yeah.
And to find out we had hit it because there was blood.
Lots of blood.
And to not find it, then to realize that I was aiming center mass, so I probably just hit it. And the next day to find out your gun was shooting a foot high.
Yeah.
Like that hurts.
Rough, man. Rough.
That was like, oof. I'm still mad about that. That was like an hour into the first night too. I mean, the luck was just with us.
And then it was all downhill from there, and then we started to watch like 50 deer the second night, and then, what did we do the third night?
No, we just sat in the blind in the dark.
Froze to death.
Yeah,
one of those nights got cold.
One of the nights I forgot my jacket too. Be prepared. Ooh. A lot of harsh realities are just from us being idiots. Like not bringing chairs when we need to sit. Or like that one time we tried to go coyote hunting with Jared and he lost his ammo. Kind of hard to hunt without ammo.
No ammo, no bueno.
So a lot of things go wrong, and they're going to regardless. Like something will generally happen, but the best thing you can do is just try to be prepared for everything.
Go with it. Yep.
And when something does go wrong, don't be mad. Try not to. Just gotta realize it's part of the experience. Cause it's like my granddad always said. He said, if you caught a fish every time, it wouldn't be called fishing, it'd be called catching. Or if you killed a deer every time, it wouldn't be hunting, it'd be killing.
I'd rather go kill him. Well,
so I think a lot of it's in it. Like, I love getting a deer, but like the best memories are like the Snapchats I have saved on my phone of Jared studying in the tree stand at 6 a.m. and being loud and us laughing. Like that to me, like I don't know. I just think that's the best part of it. Even though like
I'd have to firmly disagree.
I wouldn't. I really like just the process of going through it all. I also really like catching a monster fish or killing a deer, coyote, bear, like whatever it is.
I need to get on some yotes.
But that's what I think.
No, I have to agree. Well, Hunter, I think that about does it. It's a very gloomy podcast for Christmas Eve.
It's not a gloomy podcast because at the end of it, we said that it was part of it, and you're just going to have to expect it and deal with it. And a lot of times, it makes the best memories too.
It builds character.
Like, you know, even though we had such a good day on Lake Winter Chickamauga, we're going to talk about forever how you almost died on the boat.
Oh God!
From heat exhaustion. Like, you know what I'm saying? Remember that time you missed that deer? Like, we're going to talk about that. Remember that time Jared lost his ammo and looked like 40 different places for it?
Remember that time Jared?
Or that time he lost his hat in the lake? Or the time we got lost hiking twice?
No, let's not talk about that.
That's the stuff you're going to talk about and build character from and grow your relationships from.
Exactly.
So I think that's the best part about it. Just the journey. Even when things go wrong, I think that the wrong, hard, learning, just fun moments are the moments that are going to make the most lasting memories. That's good. We should clip that. I felt motivational there. Was I motivational? No. Yeah, okay.
All right, guys. Well, that about does it. We want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas if you're watching this after Christmas.
Happy holidays, free wristbands, ho, ho, ho.
We have got nobody that wants wristbands. So.
Actually, my dad submitted a steak and we never mailed him one.
Aww.
We need to do that.
Poor old Eric.
We were supposed to test it to see if it worked and we never even mailed him one. But we promise we'll send you one. Comment comment and we will send you one. Like, nothing special. Just comment.
Comment and we'll reach out. All right. Well, that about does it, guys. Merry Christmas. If it's not Christmas, then not Merry Christmas.
Merry Chrysler.
Merry Chrysler. We'll see you guys next time. And remember, take someone outdoors. That was awful, but still. See y'all.